This is GB Hollows, and today we'll be checking out the Victorian Vampire from Home Depot 2024. Another one I was able to get half off last year, so $100. So let's get right into this unboxing, setup, and demo. Demo, and review of this animatronic. We're now getting into the animatronics that I bought last year, so anticipation is pretty high, as a lot of these have just been sitting in the basement for a year. Although this is a pretty basic animatronic, a standard SVI animatronic. However, this is a lot smaller of a box than the Boogeyman. Pretty manageable size, but that was the base right there. And it looks like we have all the pulls right here. So again, this is from last year, but pretty cool animatronic. Here are the hands. We'll take everything out of the bag later. I have a sensor that's connected to the control box down there. Let's just go for the head right here. Latex head. Let's see how it looks. It does look pretty good though. I don't really see any deformities on this, and it is pretty well detailed. Really big, bushy eyebrows. Again, we'll take that out of the bag in a bit. Standard latex over plastic right there. Here we have his hard plastic shoes, or boots, I should say, along with a motor right here. That looks to be the hip piece as well. So probably his body turning motor. And we have the clothing right here. Instructions, black and white instructions right there. All this dividing cardboard, we'll have to get that out of the way so that we can get the main piece out here. But here's the back piece. And yeah, this is just going to take everything else out basically. And finally, we have the control box out. It's a standard on-off sensor volume control adapter jack. Also has the shoulder piece or motor. And here's a whole bunch of foam. Arm pieces, leg foam, hip loop, and finally the adapter. So let's get to the setup. Alright, now for the setup, like I said, this should be very simple. I don't think I even need the instructions because it is pretty basic. So we're just going to take these B poles, connect them to the base. Like that, make sure they snap lock into place. And then we'll take the boots labeled C, the boots, and you get honked at by a car, and then you slide the boots over the B poles, and then you take the D poles and you attach those next. Something that I do want to mention in regards to lighting, I have bought more lighting. It is on and it's not making any difference. So if anyone has any tips for shooting videos outside, any lighting suggestions in particular, let me know, because yeah, my lighting is not making a difference so far. But those are the D and E poles, as you should be able to see, all labeled there. But the sun has come out, so hopefully it'll cooperate. Hopefully we can actually see this guy. But next we have his vampire clothing. Looks like we'll have to attach the sensor later, but we'll start off with the pants. These are not the pants. The pants that I dropped. And we'll slide these pants right over the poles after I put the foam on. So the foam is now on the legs. You'll want to do that first before you slide the pants over the legs. Just like this. And you pull those down so that you can attach this piece right here, the plastic. That's just to protect the motor that's on here. but this is labeled H and goes this way. And now we'll take the hip piece labeled I and just put that in place right here. That just slides down, and just like that, we are ready for the main control piece right here with the IR sensor attached. We'll be attaching this to the top. Snap locks into place. And now we place his entire Victorian jacket over the top there. It is a pretty good quality. So his jacket is on. We'll make that look a bit better in a bit. The sensor's in the front, Velcro's in the back. And now we add the arms, both L and M. Those are prong connections that slide into place by the shoulders right there and there. And now you slide his jacket, you pull that up over his arms. And now he's looking like this. I do like his appearance, and like I said, the clothing is pretty good quality. I did forget to add this back forming piece right here, part Q, so I will add that now. And now we add the hands to the end of the arms. There are cotter pins that you will have to remove and then reattach. The hands, which are hard plastic, are attached, and then use Velcro attached to the sleeves to secure that to the hands. But now let's take a look at the head. Like I said, pretty standard latex, but the detail, I would say, is really nothing to complain about. I got big bushy eyebrows right there. He has those yellow eyes. Let's get a closer look. Again, I have a light like right over here. It's not doing much, but yeah, like I said, not much to complain about. I think it does look pretty good. Pointed ears. Here's the back in case you want to see the inside with the two wires coming out, but let's attach the head to the very top next. I've adjusted the clothing, such as pulling the pants up over the hip loop, and attached all the wires. We'll want to attach a wire coming from his arm for the arm rotor, as well as the turning rotor, which is down here. There's a wire that comes from that, two wires that come from the head, and I attached, you can't really see here, but there is an IR sensor that you put into place. It just Velcros into place right there. Connect all those wires, they should all match up. Something that is interesting, the head doesn't really have a cotter pin to hold the pronged connection in place, while the hands do. I feel like it should be like opposite, because I would rather the head be held in place a bit better than the hands, but it is what it is. So the final step is I will be attaching sort of this piece around his neck. If I can face it the right way, this is labeled R. Well, my lighting is actually sort of working now, so that's good. But I've attached the adapter to the control box, so he's all plugged in and ready to go. I had another thing I was going to say, but I forgot it. So the clothing is all situating. He's all set. So let's get to the demo.
Doth not the very word conjure breath and moonlight? Life shall fade to valley shade as I sup upon your blood. I am the embodiment of thy most profound fears, preying upon the frail vein of humanity. In the shadows I dwell, forever bound by the thirst that courses through me. Your mortal existence is but a fleeting specter in the face of my immortality. Hast thou heard the whispers in the night? They speak to your impending doom. With every drop of blood I consume, my power grows stronger, and I resist untold pain. Now embrace the darkness within thee, for it is the darkness that shall set you free.
So I heard a clicking noise and I noticed that the arm is actually not moving. So we're gonna have to check on that motor. But aside from that, when I saw this guy, I thought he's really cool. Then I saw the videos and I was kind of let down by how basic his animation is. So why the animation isn't really something I would say is very strong for him. It's not that bad. It's just, like I said, kind of basic. However, his overall appearance, I mean, if you look just at his mouth, look at all the detail. There's the lips, the teeth. You can even see the gums and tongue in there. So the mouth details are very well done. And overall, I think the head is very well done. The hands, they're kind of average, so not that bad. And overall, his clothing and appearance, I like that Nosferatu style vampire. I think this is one of the best looking vampires that we've gotten. So while it's all black clothes, I really don't have a problem with it. I think he looks really good in the buttons here. That keeps it from being really plain. His audio, I don't really have any issues with that either. I think his lines are pretty cool. His voice, I like his voice. And like I said, appearance. So let me check on the arm motor and then I'll see if that is fixed. So the arm is actually not supposed to move, so that's my bad. It's just the head and mouth movement and then the body side to side. Overall, I like this guy quite a bit. I was thinking about getting him just for a year or two, then selling him, but I don't really want to sell him. So I don't know what I'm going to do. Overall, why you can't buy this guy anymore, I would recommend him because he is pretty cool. Some do have like a loud mouth motor. It's almost like a clacking noise. I don't know if that comes in later as he's used more, but mine is perfectly fine for now. So overall, good animatronic. Let's see him one more time. I forgot to mention that the Victorian Vampire is 7 feet tall, so a pretty decent size. Also, if you want to see him, you know, not just in a garage, make sure you check out all my future haunt videos, as I'll be doing demos, walkthroughs, all kinds of stuff. So you can see this guy in a cave closer to Halloween. But with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
I am the embodiment of thy most profound fears, preying upon the frail vein of humanity. In the shadows I dwell,